Hello, my beautiful Facebook family. Just jumping on live today, Good Friday, with a fresh burst of encouragement for you. I am technically on school holidays this end, but I just felt a release from the heart of the Father to just speak over hearts this day. I am broadcasting live through my public page, my personal page, and over obviously on YouTube this morning. But friends, I've got a fresh burst of encouragement that's going to strengthen you, and many of you are going to have your eyes opened as we release the word today. I really believe there's an impartation on this word today, and there's going to be a perspective shift so that you can actually embrace the truth and run with fresh juice. Good morning. How are you today? God bless you today. Hello there, Melissa. Hello there, Honeybee. How are you today? God bless you. I have a fresh burst of encouragement for you. I tell you what, there's a lot of swirling in the atmosphere in the spiritual realm at the moment, but I tell you what, there's an increase of favor upon many this day. I tell you what, the bride is arising with power in this hour, and it's a sense of resurrection power coming through in this hour. And many of you are going to have a perspective shift this day, and it's going to launch you into a new day. It's going to launch you into the good things that God has for you, because His mercy is here to stay. Good morning. How are you today, Vanessa? Good morning. How are you today, Becky? Good evening. How are you today? We're 13 hours ahead over here on the west coast of Australia. We're 13 hours behind those of you in the US of A. And I tell you what, in this now season, you're going to pay. P-E-Y, decreed, heaven sees that, friends, you have the victory. What was the purpose of Jesus coming to earth? Friend, what was the whole point of it? The whole point of it was so that He could bring dead people to life. He was nailed to the tree. He went to the place of Golgotha, the place of the skull, where He hung there like a public spectacle, so that we could come off the spell, so we could be removed from the stain and the stamp of sin, which had removed us from His presence. And that is how we can run in. That is how we can come running boldly into His presence this day, because His blood is enough, and He was slain like a lamb. And I tell you what, in this now season, many of you are going to see the ram. You're going to see the ram in the thicket, and you're going to come through in His time span. Jesus came and He died so that we could rise. We were once dead in sin, and we're now alive in Christ. We have the power to overcome. And I tell you what, in this now season, you're going to see a perspective shift, and you're going to move forward, just as Zacchaeus did. Just reading out of Luke 19 today, just the story of Zacchaeus, the very wealthy tax collector that had his eyes opened, that went up the sycamore tree and he saw Jesus, and Jesus sat and dined with him, spent the night with him, and then He called him into intimacy. And Zacchaeus left all that was familiar, all that was true. He left his wealth in a sense, and the zoo. And there was a sense of, I mean, can you imagine the incredible opposition and the persecution and the trouble that he faced as he went with Jesus? Many of the people that he knew, many of the people scoffed him and mocked him. He was hated and persecuted for being a tax collector. Obviously, he was very unjust, but God released him out of that unjust and gave him his must. There was a sense of a transaction that took place in Zacchaeus' life, and we see as you go forth through the chapter 19, the parable of the prince and his servants. And many in that situation, it says that, in the scriptures, that it's harder for a rich man to enter through into the kingdom realm than it is for a poor man. In the sense of, when you have much wealth and you tend to put your trust in what is your own self, it's a sense of your own holding on to what you have, your own perspective, your own cynicism of what God has for you in His time span. If you look at chapter 19, looking forward, the parable that Jesus taught there, many were questioning and doubting. He was saying, if you sow your seed and you're given, he gave a parable of seed. He said, if I give you the seed and you go and do it, go and sow it and come back to me and show me what you make. And there was 3 men in that situation. One came back with nothing, because he didn't trust that God was going to give him the upgrade. He didn't trust that God had good intentions at heart. And it's the same for many of you in this now season. You've seen much disparity. You've seen much pilfering. You've seen religion and traditions of man, and you've seen much difficulty in your span. And there isn't a sense of trust, which is a must. There's a sense of a sty in your eye, and you don't have a clear perspective that God has come through this day. He's come through. He hung there like a public spectacle for you, so that you can come into intimacy this day. Friend, He doesn't want your money. He wants your heart from the start. He died there like a public spectacle for you, because He knew that first Adam was going to stuff it up. He knew that there was going to be a sense of disparity. He knew that man's way wasn't going to make it. And it's the same for many of you this day. You are self-made men. You are self-made women, but there isn't that peace in your heart. And He gives you His peace to stay with from the start. He comes to give you peace from the storms of life, in the sense of you're going to have peace on the inside no matter the strife. He's come to release you from the noose of depression and oppression. He's come to release you from the noose of poverty. Some of you are wealthy in the natural, but you are in poverty in the spiritual. And God's come to give you increase this day. He's come to give you a transaction this day, whereas you hand over your sorrows. He was a man acquainted with sorrow. He went to face your tomorrow. He went to Calvary, the place of the skull, for you and me. And it's the same for you this day. You're going to rule and you're going to reign. And that is why God spoke that parable to the disciples that day, because he wants you to rule and reign. There's upgrade upon you this day. He doesn't want you to have to give it all up in the sense of you have to lay down your life and you think you're going to run out of stuff. I tell you what, God is the God who owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He wants your heart from the start. He wants that purity of heart. Zacchaeus means pure. Zacchaeus had a purity of heart. He had his eyes opened and he followed the king from the start. And God gave him upgrade, gave him increase, and gave him more that was in store. And it's the same for you. He's calling you into service for your tomorrow. Your future is in his hand. He has the time span and he has the land. Friend, there's an upgrade for you. He wants to entrust hearts with you from the start. He wants to give you a fresh start. He wants to give you the upgrade as he owns the cattle on 1,000 hills this day. Friend, what do we do when we walk one with the king? We walk in intimacy. We fly above the fray. He breaks poverty off our backs. He breaks lack off our backs. He gives us upgrade and he gives us peace amid the storms this day. Friend, I have had much and I have had very little, but I walk with the Prince of Peace this day. And no matter my disparity, my insecurities, my fears, my weaknesses, my own sin, the things which have caused me to enter into brokenness, the things that have caused a fracture around me, his presence has sustained me. His presence has led me out this day. His presence has brought miracle power through this day. His resurrection power has led us forth in this hour. And it's the same for you and me, friend. Friend, our lives on this earth are like a dash. We live for eternity. We're called and we're created for one in the Son. It is done. And his blood is enough this day. Death, where is your sting? Friend, you walk with the resurrected King. Friend, he wants to prosper you in your soul this day. He wants to give you a fresh start this day. There's a sense of a restoring of hearts. There's a restoring of trust, broken dreams that seem like dust. Resurrection power is upon you in this hour. Zacchaeus was willing to go. He had a generous heart. He released that guilt. He released that false burden of tomorrow, and he followed the Lord from the start. And it's the same for you. Many of you are going to have a fresh start this day. You're going to see a new heart this day, and you're going to see that it's his love that has won the day. I tell you what, friend, he's offering you his peace this day. There's a sense of a fresh start this day. There's a sense of trusting him with this thing. The skepticism is going to break off your mind this day. You're not going to tap into the carnal mind, your own logical thinking, what you can control in your time. You're going to tap into the mind of Christ, which you receive at salvation this day. What is salvation? It's simply repentance. It's turning from your own understanding, your own carnal mind. It's coming and bowing and yielding and receiving this day. The gospel is very, very simple, this friend. It is incredibly simple. It is not man's traditions. It is not culture stamped on the ram. It is a simple, pure message that God so loved the world that he came. He laid his life down as a public spectacle for you, friend. His first love is coming through, and he's burst through, and he's leading you out, and he's leading you in this day so that you can go 2 by 2. His presence is in pursuit of you, friend. Oh, friend, he doesn't want your purse. He wants your heart from the start. And from that overflow, you shall go, and you shall see miracles popping this day. You shall see the miracles of God coming through this day as the miracle maker has made a way. Many of you have left tribe, you've left family, you've left situations and circumstances which have held you in a noose, but God says it's juice. The release of my honey is here today. My provision is here to stay. My presence is your portion this day. It is time to trust me with this thing and come through from the rust. The things of this earth are like rust, friend. I tell you what, the houses and the cars and the lands and the treasures of this earth, it's like rust. It's like dirt. Friend, you come through your parents, not from them this day. You were birthed from eternity, friend. God desired you. He wanted you. He created you, and he formed you in your mother's womb. No matter the circumstances that you were born through, no matter the backstory, he understands and he sees. He's the God who knows. He's the God who trusts. I tell you what, he's calling you through from the crust. He's calling you through from that heart from the start, where your heart has been callous from the start, where you've been burdened, where you've been abused, where you've been mocked, where you've been hurt, where religion and man has let you down in your time span. I want to encourage you, friend. God is calling you up this day. His reign and presence is here to stay. His portion is upon you this day. You're going to see a ram in the thicket this day, and you're going to see an upgrade and all that you need this day. It's time to get out of your natural mind and lay it all down and trust him with this thing. He is the good shepherd that leads his sheep. He leads you through the valley of the shadow of death. He leads you into pastures green. He gives you his peace this day. Oh, friend, his peace is here to stay. He's not an angry God. He's not here to come and judge you. He was placed as a public spectacle, friend. He laid it all down at the cross. And those three words where he said, it is finished. It is finished. It is finished, friend, over your life. It is done. It's a done deal. You can come. You can come and run and have fun. You can enter into his presence to stay with his fullness of joy, and at his right hand are pleasures for more, ever for more. I want to encourage you this day, friend. It's time to let go of skepticism. It's time to let go of doo-doo. It's time to let go of self-preservation this day. It is time, like Zacchaeus, to get down from that tree and to come into intimacy. It is time to leave your pot of gold and your dreams old to the side and come running into his presence this day, and he's going to give you upgrade all the way. The truth is this day, the truth is that he's going to make you a ruler over nations this day. He's going to give you hearts from the start. He's going to give you capacity to create and steward wealth this day for his kingdom, friend. I tell you what, it's releasing heaven on earth from the start. He's given us he's initiated and caused us and called us to go and steward over the earth, over the animals and over the birds and over the land, etc. He wants to prosper you this day. He's not a hard taskmaster this day. That is man's tradition. That is man's religion. That is pervading over the truth. It's like false money and real money. It's like you have monopoly money. It's not the real deal, is it? And then you have real money. The real money you can cash. And money is just a tool, friend. There's nothing wrong with money. Money is a tool. The more you have, the more you can do. But I want to encourage you. Some of you, it's doo-doo. You're seeking, you're searching for more riches. You're seeking and you're searching for more money. You put your trust in money. In God we trust. Oh, we trust you, Jesus. I tell you what, he wants to call you up, to call you out this day so that he can give you upgrade this day. Friends, you only need so much to live on this day. Some of you are called to be billionaires and millionaires and have a wealth transfer, etc., so you can steward that wealth, etc. Others of you in situations and circumstances where there's been disparity, where there's been poverty, and God wants to give you upgrade this day. Friend, many of the backers and the supporters and the people that have helped are not wealthy. They are people that have sown seed into my ministry, into my children. They are widows. They are single mothers. They're people even on a pension. And I tell you what, you'll see that God is, you use that scripture very clearly. He's with the brokenhearted. He's with the widow. He's with those that don't have much. And I want to encourage you. Why does he use that story so often? And that's in the story of the women at Mary's house, and the women that washed Jesus' feet, the women that were there at Calvary, the women, the Patini, the woman at the well. She was the first woman that went back, the first woman apostle that went back to the village, and the whole village had their eyes opened and they came into intimacy with the king. Why is it that women are so powerful in the context of birthing miracles? Why is it that God chose Mary, a virgin woman, to birth a miracle? Because it's a simplicity, and it's the same, the twisting of theology, the twisting of culture, the twisting of inequality. Friend, God is spirit. God is made male and female. He's given us a different function. He's given us a different role. But I tell you what, in this now season, it's time to roll. It is time to trust the king with this thing, women. It is time to rise up from disparity. It is time to take the sickle by the hand and use what you've got in your hand. I tell you what, he's given you land. He's given you territory. He's given you hearts this day from the start. There's a perspective shift on this word today. It is time to trust the king once more. It is time to stand tall. It is time to take with both hands your inheritance this day. And it involves souls. It involves hearts. It involves your destiny this day. Friend, you are not overlooked. You are not unseen. You are his queen, and he's calling you out and he's calling you in. And it's time in the lean and the in-between. Broken hearts are being restored. Broken dreams are coming to your door. There's a restitution and there's a resurrection power upon you in this hour of power. Fresh starts and new hearts. It is time to come through with a willing heart. Zacchaeus means pure. He was generous and true in the end, and he laid it all down, and he came through and followed the one that's true. Friend, it's a short word today, but it's a sweet word for you. I tell you what, there's a sense of the Spirit of God wants to bless you this day with a sense of a peace to be still to the storm, with his mercy which is drawing you nigh. And he doesn't want you to eat your money in the sense of eat all your seed. He wants you to deposit some of that seed in his kingdom, trusting him with this thing, letting go of the reins, following him in his purpose and his calling this day. I tell you what, there is always provision for the vision this day. No matter the skirmishes, no matter the things from the second heaven which come to put you in a noose, you're going to see this truth. We have seen miracle upon miracle. We have seen provision in our timeline. I've seen this over 30 years of my life as I put the king first, as I followed the cloud and not the crowd. I tell you what, time is time in your span. It is time to come through in his hand. His hand is it's holding you up, friend. He holds the whole world in his hand. And it's a sense of coming into alignment from the start. He will never usurp your free will. It is always an invitation to come and have fun and run. Some of you are so skeptical this day because you've seen man and you've seen religion, and it's not the truth this day. It is a counterfeit to the truth this day. And God is inviting you to come. He's inviting you this day. It is Good Friday. He has come and he's laid his life down as a public spectacle for you, friend. He's called you apart and he's called you from the start. And he says, I've got you in between and in the lane. He's calling you up and he's calling you out. Some of you are bankers. You're working in bank offices. I tell you what, I woke up with this very, very strong this morning. Others of you are in administration. Others of you are realtors. Others of you have walked away from calling and desire. You felt the drawing of the Spirit of God at the night as you've got quiet, as there's been a quietening of your heart. You felt that knocking on your heart, but there's been a skepticism. And God says to you today, he says, I want you to come. I want you to trust me with this thing. I want you to hand over the skepticism and you're going to receive belief this day. Friend, he believes in you even when you don't believe in yourself. He believed in you before you even believed in him, friend. It's his first love, which was laid down from tough stuff. It's his first love, which is pursuing you this day. And he's calling you up and he's calling you out this day. And he's saying, I've got enough. You are enough. You can be released from tough stuff. And just like Zacchaeus, who followed the tree which was cut down. Jesus is a tree. It's a metaphor of us, friends. He was perfect man and he was perfect. He was a man, fully man, and he was perfect God. He was both divine and human in our time span. He came to earth to reconcile the world unto himself, friend, through religious shackles, through traditions of man, through all of the patriarchal, the nonsense that went on in his time span. Friend, he has seen it all. He is a man acquainted with sorrows and he dealt with it all, for mental health, for depression, for oppression this day, for addictions, for suicide, for a murderous spirit which comes to put you in a noose this day. Friend, he's cut you loose and it is time to tap into juice. It is time to tap into the tree of life where there is no strife and receive this day. Receive his peace this day. Peace be still to the storms raging inside of you. Peace be still to the storms raging around you. I tell you what, he will never let you down. His mercy and his grace is found. Oh, he is perfect love and he's come through from the start for you, friend. That is the word of the Lord. Good morning. How are you today, Susan? God bless you today. Your family is coming into intimacy. I see greater intimacy all around you. I see the seven spirits of God surrounding your children and your grandchildren this day. There's a presence of God is pursuing you this day, Susan. There's a sense of all things new. You're coming into all things new. Fresh dew, friend, is upon you. You are coming through into all things new. And there's a sense of a sweetness upon you, Susan. God bless you today. Hello, Jules. How are you today down there in Esperance? God bless you, sister. It's time to run with that sickle, friend. It is time to take the bull by the horns with both hands this day. God has placed his word in Rhema, his Rhema word in your hand. He's put his word in your mouth, and it is time to run with that in this now season. Through the media lane, through what God has entrusted to you, I see a double door in front of you, sister. I see a local town. I see a local village. I see an opportunity for upgrade upon you this day, but it is time to take the bull by the horns and run with what it is he's called you to this day. There's a breadcrumb trail for you that you're going to have confirmation in this day, and you're going to see it as God speaking to you. And where there's been a questioning and a doubting, you're going to see clarity this day, Jules, and you're going to enter into the things that he's called you to in 2022. God bless you today in Esperance. How are you, Eric? God bless you today. God bless you today. How are you today, Evelyn? God bless you today from the Philippines. God bless you over there today. Provision, presence, and power be upon you in this hour. May you see an increase of what you need this day, of his presence, which is going to sustain you and strengthen you, Evelyn. I see great strength coming alongside of you, and there's a sense of a strength of a lion upon you, a strength of an ox upon you. It's a sweetness and a beauty that's upon you, but there's a strength upon you. God has given you a strength to stand strong, to set boundaries in your township and in your area and in your region and in your family. I see you setting very pleasant boundary lines, and it's going to give you a confidence to move forward with the things that God has placed in your hand, Evelyn. God bless you with that word today. How are you, Nanette? God bless you today. Upgrade is upon you, sister. Upgrade, increase, and more is in you. Whereabouts are you, Nanette? Are you in Mexico? God bless you today. God bless you. I see the fiery presence all around you, Nanette. I see an angelic army around you. I see there's a specific angel of prosperity appointed to you, and it's leading you out and it's leading you in. There's an ability to create wealth, to steward wealth, and to go forward in the kingdom purposes that God has called you to, Nanette. You are not alone. God bless you, sister. How are you today, Nikki? God bless you today. Provision, presence, and power is upon your house in this hour. I see divine connections in the night for you, Nikki. I see dreams and in the night and fresh insight. God is going to give you fresh blueprints, and he's going to give you confirmation of his presence in pursuit of you. There's a sense of upgrade upon you, Nikki, as you put your soaking music on at night, as you have laser focus, as you trust the King with this thing. He's leading you into his ring. It's a sense of the joy of the Lord. Where there's been grief, where there's been sorrow, where there's been a sense of mourning for tomorrow in this now season. It's going to be fresh dew that's upon you, and there's going to be a fresh morning upon you. Morning has broken over you this day. God bless you, Nikki. How are you, Vanessa? God bless you, Vanessa. There's increase upon you this day. I see you like a rubber band. You've been very stretched, but you're coming back into a sense of centeredness this day, Vanessa. You've been stretched out and you feel like you're in a very thin place, but God is with you in that shout. It is time to let out a shout, Vanessa, that you are a victor. You walk in victory this day. You walk with the peace of God, which is upon you this day, Vanessa. His peace is your portion. That is what you received at Calvary. You received 3 components of the kingdom, which is what the kingdom realm is. His right standing, where you can run into his presence where there's fullness of joy, and his peace, which is upon you this day. His peace is your portion in that stretch, in that tight squeeze where there's not a lot of ease, and you're like that elastic band. I see you coming back into shape and a sense of centeredness in this time span. So we just decree over you that you'd have an increase of his presence upon you this day. God bless you, sister. God bless you, Tiniki. God bless you and the children and the grandchildren. I see just a season of increase of his presence upon you, Tiniki. I see there's much healing in this now season on the run, and I see you having fun as you've come through post grief, etc., from losing your loved one. He is there in eternity, as we know, sister. But I see there's a fresh bounce in your step in this now season from July onwards this year. I see a shift in your situation in the air. It's a sense of you've come through a season of transition, the new property in the garden and the family, etc. But I see it shifting over you July onwards. That God has got a small project He's going to place in your hand from July onwards this year. It's going to be a fresh project, something small that you can do, and it's going to be released through your home, and the juice is upon that. So go and seek him, whatever it is he's speaking to you about in this now season. I don't know, it might be flower pots that you make and take to the elderlies in the elderly home. It might be something where you have scriptures that you put in song and you place in flowers and take them along once a week to the old people's home. I don't know, there's something to do with elderly and retirees there, and you are going to release the glory through you. God bless you, Teneke. Good morning, sister. How are you, Dawn? Thank you for your love, your consistency, reaching out through Messenger, your prayers and your honor. God's heart carriers, Dawn Baker. We love you dearly, sister. God bless you. Happy Passover to you too. All things new. That is the word of the Lord today. God bless you, friends. I love you dearly. I'm praying for you, friend. There is upgrade upon your household this day. His presence is your portion, and it's here to stay. His peace is here, and his peace is leading you through the waters which are choppy, through the storms of life. You are anchored to hope because you're in the boat. Friend, you are not alone. You are anchored to hope. And many of you are in a thin place of transition. You're in a thin place of coming through into all things new. But I want to encourage you. You do not, like Corrie Ten Boom said, you do not throw the ticket off the tunnel when you're going through the tunnel. You don't throw the ticket off the train. You hold on, and you're going to see his presence, which is your reign. His presence is your portion this day. You shall reign, REIGN, and you shall walk in victory in this time span. God bless you today, Alba. God bless you today, Mary. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. Have a wonderful resurrection weekend. And I look forward to jumping on next week with a live broadcast too. I love you dearly. Bye now.